This is Film Festival Hacks, the podcast with Film Fest insights from both sides of the badge. Alex Ferrari is the creator of IndieFilmHustle.com and a veteran filmmaker with more than 600 festival credits. Chris Holland from FilmFestivalSecrets.com has worked behind the scenes with more than 200 festivals and is the author of the filmmaking handbook, Film Festival Secrets. Together, they're pulling back the curtain on the film festival knowledge you need to succeed.
So guys, thank you so much and welcome to the Film Festival Hacks podcast. I am Alex Ferrari.
And I'm Chris Holland.
And Chris and I'll tell you a little bit about ourselves first. My name's Alex Ferrari. I run a website called IndieFilmHustle.com. And I have a very popular podcast called Indie Film Hustle Podcast as well on iTunes. And Chris and I got together because we really wanted to put together a small little kind of a nugget of information about film festivals out there, so a free resource for filmmakers to understand film festival, because it's probably one of the most misunderstood things in the whole gambit of being a filmmaker, of things to do, things not to do, how to spend money properly, not to spend money, all that kind of stuff. So that was the main reason we kind of put this thing together. So Chris, tell them a little bit about yourself as well.
I am the proprietor of Film Festival Secrets, which is website, podcast, book, dessert topping, anything I can get under that banner. Basically, it's my mission in life to make sure that filmmakers, have a good time on the festival circuit and really take advantage of it to its best, and hopefully not spend a fortune while they're doing it. So yeah, I have a podcast as well. And I'm really looking forward to, really getting some good information in very short periods of time out on episodes of this podcast.
Great. And what we decided to do, Chris and I decided to do, is do an 8-part series, and then maybe be adding on some things later on. But this will be a quick, little 8-part mini series, if you will, on tips on film festivals and what to do, how to get in, what not to do, what to do, where to spend money, and so on and so forth. So our first episode is going to be about the top 3 things that annoy film festival programmers. So Chris, what's number 1?
Well, I'm going to preface this by saying that having been on the programming side of the desk myself and having worked with a couple hundred different programmers, we're not just guessing here. We're actually drawing from real experience. Alex has a ton of experience from having put films, both shorts and features, through festivals. Probably 200 or 300, right?
Actually, 600.
600 festivals.
My movies have been screened in over 600 festivals internationally for over the last decade. So I have a lot of experience on the filmmaker side of the film festival topic, but Chris has all the behind the scenes stuff. So the combination of both of us is a killer combination, I think.
I just thought it was important to let people know we're not just, pulling this out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. We're not. We're definitely not just pulling this out of our butts here. We do have some experience as well.
Okay, so the first thing that I hear festival programmers complain about is filmmakers who don't pay attention during the submissions process. Either they don't fill out the forms properly, or they don't read instructions on what their screener should be like, or they don't really investigate the festival that they're submitting to make sure that their film is appropriate. This gets really, really bad at times, such as when, a festival that's all about the sexual experience gets children films submitted, just not appropriate stuff. So
you mean the shotgun approach? They just kind of they just spew it out to as many festivals as they can.
Yeah. This is a real symptom of sites like Without-A-Box and, to a lesser extent, Film Freeway. But Without-A-Box was really sort of the progenitor of this approach, where every day you're getting a different email about your last chance to submit to â Film Festival. And it's important to remember that, you do not have to listen to that little voice in the back of your head that says, you're missing out. This would be a really great opportunity. I have to submit to the late deadline for $90 right now. You don't. Just cool out, take your time, really pay attention to the festivals that you are submitting to, pick them well, and you're going to have a much better experience on the festival circuit.
I would agree with you 110%. I tried as well with Without a Box, and we'll talk about Without a Box and Film Freeway in a further episode. But Without a Box makes it so easy to kind of submit stuff, and once the system was down, I was able just to submit things, but fairly easily. But when you do those handwritten applications for festivals who are not on Without a Box or Film Freeway, sometimes you just forget things, don't do it properly, don't put the right information in, and then there's always that whole I submitted a horror movie to a children's festival kind of vibe. So just do your research a little bit before you waste your time and your money.
Yeah, I think there will be a tendency as we talk about these annoyances for it to feel like programmers are really petty people, like they get annoyed at really small things. But the reality is that these are small things that are happening dozens, hundreds, thousands of times over and over and over again over the course of their time as a festival programmer. So at some point, it just becomes the straw that broke the camel's back. So, I think the lesson here is not that your festival run is over if you mess up on some of the details, but that your life will be generally easier if you do pay attention to those details.
Very good, sir. So what is number 2?
I think number 2 is being too protective of your intellectual property and being too precious with access to your film's screener copy, whether it's online or on DVD or whatever. There is a fear that someone, a nameless someone, somewhere in the process is going to steal your idea or copy your movie and put it on BitTorrent, and your life will be over and you'll never be able to sell that movie for anything. The reality is you're more helped by making that film more accessible up to a point than you are by, hiding that light under a bushel. This applies not only to making the film difficult to access, but putting watermarks on it or changing the password every week, which sometimes happens. You're just making the whole process harder. This comes into play even after you stop submitting and you're playing festivals. If your screener is behind a password and you change that password every week, what happens when the jury that is at this prestigious festival where you're in competition? What happens when they go to watch the film 2 weeks after they've been given the password and it's changed, and they have to go back to the person at the festival who has to go back to you to all these things add up to days and weeks of delay, and it doesn't build goodwill. So try not to keep too tight a control on that.
Now, Chris, I'm going to ask you a question because as a filmmaker, I've always watermarked my movies going to film festivals very, very lightly, very transparently, and generally I do it throughout the entire movie. And a lot of my clients, by the way, guys, I run a post-production house and delivered probably around 60 or 70 feature films in my career. So a lot of them have gone down the film festival route, and they've always been watermarked to a certain extent. But again, I do it very lightly, probably opacity of maybe 15, just enough to see it there, but not enough to annoy you. And it's very low at the bottom. It's not in the middle or anything like that. So what do you suggest? Is that okay?
I think it's okay. What I think there's two issues. The first is visibility. Is it distracting? Mm-hmm. Right? Is it, and it sounds like you're doing all right on that. The second is, what level of arrogance does it convey to the viewer? Right? Everybody understands that if you're A24 or Universal or whoever, and you're, putting what is clearly valuable property that will make money out there into the world, that you're putting a watermark on that so you can identify real sources of piracy that would really hurt you. Like, that's acceptable. But if you're a first-time filmmaker who has, less of a realistic chance of that property becoming something, mm-hmm. then having, an egregious watermark in that lower left-hand corner in bright yellow the whole time is not only irritating, it is, it speaks of self-importance.
Got it.
My recommendation is generally, 10 seconds at a time, every 15 minutes to half hour, which is more than enough to mm-hmm. protect you in terms of knowing where that watermark where Watermark copy came from, but not enough to annoy the stew out of somebody who's just trying to watch the movie.
I would agree with that. I sometimes put it when I said put it through out of him. A lot of my projects have been shorts, so it's only a 5 or 10 minute thing. So I just left it on. But on features, sometimes we do definitely go in and out, which is probably the best thing. And you put it up there for maybe 20 seconds and then pop it out, and then every like 20 minutes or 30 minutes you pop it up. So maybe 3-4 times throughout the process. So just don't get crazy with it, guys, because you're trying to make this as a pleasurable experience. You already have enough things against you, instead of just putting more obstacles in front of you and the film festival screener or programmer. Just take it easy on the Watermarks.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So number 3, sir.
Number three is kind of a biggie. It's subscribing the programmer to your email list based on one email contact.
I mean, I'm telling you, Chris, when you told me this, I almost fell out of my chair. I could not believe people do this. I never in all of my days ever put them on an email list because it's just stupid.
Well, yeah, I think it comes from, wanting to make the process of keeping festival programmers up to date easier. But the mistake that people make is not making a list that's only for festival programmers, right? They make a general, like, all-purpose mailing list, and then, when they have one email contact with a festival programmer, or even no contact with that programmer, they'll put that, info at blah blah filmfestival.com email address on their list. And you're lucky if all you do is have them unsubscribe. There are other actions they could take, like marking it as spam, which is not good for your list, or, making a mental note that you are not someone they want to deal with because you're going to behave badly in other ways, when they deal with you as a potential screening partner. So, keep the level of contact with festival programmers down to once a week at most. If you have something new to say, like I got into another film festival, or I have, a new cut or something new about the film you want to say, and definitely do not subscribe them to a list. They hate that.
Very good advice, sir. Very good advice. So this comes to the end of our first episode. I hope you guys got a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of advice that might help you along the road. We're going to be doing this every week as long as we have episodes, which will be 8 episodes. We're going to launch with around 3 episodes, and then we're going to release one every week until we're done, and then possibly add some more stuff going forward. So, and also just want to let you guys know that Chris and I put together a course called Film Festival Hacks, and it is the definitive course on film festivals and what to do, what not to do. It's, I think, about 2.5 hours, something like that, Chris?
I think it's at least that long. At
least 2.5, 3 hours long. And it's invaluable. A lot of film festivals have really embraced it as the course to take, filmmakers should take to understand the world of film festivals. So if you want to get information about that course, just go to filmfestivalhacks.com. That's filmfestivalhacks.com. And you can get a discount code for that course. So we're going to keep bringing you a lot of free information over the next few weeks, guys. So thanks again for taking a listen. Chris, you have anything to say?
I want to say it in my voice that they should visit filmfestivalhacks.com.
All right, then. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you in the next episode.
That's it for another episode of Film Festival Hacks. To learn more about guiding your film to success on the festival circuit, visit filmfestivalhacks.com.